sort of share those things. And then I am going to do another one of these wood squares. I think I'm going to need a bigger one because I don't think the transfer I want to use is going to fit on this small one. Nope, I'm going to need one of my bigger ones. So these are 3x3 box frames. These come from Chalk Couture. I really like those a lot. But these are 5x5 blank surfaces that I found from a wholesaler. And I like those a lot too. And I am timing myself on how long it takes me to make these, because as I try to figure out my pricing, I need to account for my time. Okay, so we've got my transfer called I Put a Spell on You. I think this is from the Witchy Vibes transfer sheet. I will have to look that up. So I'm going to take it off of the backing here, and then I'm going to set it on my fuzzing cloth for a second, which I'll talk about in a minute. If you watched my last video, I shared one of my little tricks when I cut my transfers apart is to write on the back of it what transfer it is. That way, A, I remember which side of the transfer sheet is the back, but B, when you cut them apart, they all cut slightly differently. And this way I kind of know this transfer goes on this back. I was writing directly on the back, but realizing that no matter what I wrote in, it was coming off. So I'm just putting a piece of Scotch tape on here and writing on the Scotch tape. So that way it'll stay. Okay, so there's that. Set that aside. I'm gonna put this here for a second. I'm gonna bring this over into the video so you can see it. So this is the Chalk Couture fuzzing cloth. The transfers are incredibly sticky for good reason, so they can be used over and over again. If you are using paste on a surface, you don't want the transfer to stick too much to the surface, otherwise it will pull up your paste. So what you need to do is what they call defuzz it. You do not have to have a fuzzing cloth to do this. I got the fuzzing cloth as a little gift from the company, but before I got it, I had just a dish towel that I used, and that will work just fine. And actually, some people just use their shirt. But you just put the transfer on whatever you're using to defuzz it, push it down a couple of times, pick it back up a few times, and that'll just take a little bit of the sticky off temporarily. So that it makes it a little bit easier to pull up your transfer. So I am actually, my work surface, I'm using my Creative Memories self-healing mat, but I'm covering it with paper towel so that I don't get too much ink or paste on it. And then I'm gonna just place this. I tend to, nope, and I can tell that's crooked. Just getting ready to say I tend to eyeball my placement. Most of the time, I'm pretty okay. But that one was crooked, so pick it up, place it again, kind of go up the middle to spread it out. Oh, well, I am just, wow, I'm having a hard time with this one. There we go, but I think it's still crooked. Yep, that's still crooked. The text is a little crooked. Okay, we're gonna try this one more time, and wherever it lands, it lands. There we go. I think that's a little better. So I'm going to try to do two colors. That is a technique that I have not quite perfected yet, because this stuff dries really fast, and when it dries, when you lift the transfer, the paste will sometimes come up. So I'm using this little tool from, it's an accessory kit. I think it's called the Artist's Set. It comes with a few paint brushes and a couple other little tools like this. Ooh, and my paste is already a little dry. Actually did this in a little water and try to mix it up. This may not work quite the way I wanted it to. You might have to abandon my idea of doing 2 colors, which is fine. Yep. So, okay. So I'm gonna put this in my water for a second and let it sit. That's my shimmer silver. And that was a singles pack, but it has dried out. And so give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if I have any more. Do I have any more? Oh, I have shimmer gold. We can do that for the stars instead of silver. But I still want to use this. And it's kind of messy. So let's see. Can I wipe that off with a paper towel? So I shared in my last video, when you all can't really see it, on my desk off to the side, I keep, let's see, I'm gonna move this and not move the camera. I keep a little Tupperware container of water. And when I'm done with a transfer, or when a squeegee is just, I've used it too much, or I have another tool that I'm done with, I put it in the water and let it sit there just for a few minutes while I'm finishing something up. And that helps me do multiple projects at the same time, or one right after another, without having to go upstairs and wash everything right away. My transfers do tend to stain on the outside, on the non-sticky side, but the paste comes out of the negative space. Okay, so I'm not really worried about that. Getting the protective lid off the paste jar is also not something I have quite perfected, but I'm working on it. So I'm going to use this shimmer gold for these stars. I'll try to hold this up a little bit so you can see. So you can see we've got some little stars around the words. I'm going to take my there we go. I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to stir this really well. Ooh, you all can't see what I'm doing. So I'm stirring my paste. Actually, really, because I need just a little bit, I am going to take it from the tool and put it on the stars. I'm actually just taking it off the spatula here. I'm going to put it on nice and thick. Okay, so just that, drop that in there. Put the lid back on this. Okay, so now I'm using, this is Shimmer Plum, and so I write the names of the colors on the top of the lid so that when I have them stacked in my little container, it's easier to tell if I'm looking for something fast what color. I mean, you can see the color in the jar, but I like to be able to look at the lid and know what I'm looking at. So I'm actually gonna do this also with a paintbrush and then just squeegee it all off because the stuff is all, the letters and the stars are all really close together. And I need to get this on pretty thick so it doesn't dry. And I feel like I do that better with paintbrush. I haven't done a lot with paintbrush. I've just been actually starting to do that today on a couple of things where it was really small detail work. And I felt like I just could not make the squeegee go where I needed it to go, in the way I needed it to, and get into a corner or something like that. So I grabbed my paintbrush and that seemed to work a little better. So I'm just layering this on here pretty thick so it hopefully will not dry. So I watched another Chalk Couture creator do a video on how to keep your ink from lifting, and you know, his recommendation was to put it on pretty thick. He said, you know, you kind of want to not be able to see the writing when you put it on. So now I'm going to, oh, you know what? I'm supposed to do the purple first. You also want to squeegee in reverse order, because so my gold went on first, and if I squeegee the gold off first, that's just going to give that gold paste even more time to dry out. So if I do my second color first, then I have some of that gold is protected by the heavier layer before you take the excess off. And I'm trying to get as much excess back into my jar as I can. And then I also try, well, you all can't see that either, so try to sort of wipe the squeegee off onto a paper towel, so I can just use the same squeegee even if it's for different colors. I already did one star, oops. So we're gonna squeegee those stars. There's not a lot of excess here. I'm squeegee those stars, and hopefully, I did that fast enough that those stars are not too dry. Don't have my tweezers. Tweezers are helpful for at least getting a corner up on your transfer. So we are going to peel this straight up. Oh yeah, my stars did just fine. Just fine, just fine. Drop that transfer in my water. And there we have my finished product there. So pretty happy with how that turned out. Yeah, so that's that. So thanks for watching.